I just want to be a good human being on this earth. The happier I am, the better my mental health is, the better my physical health is. I'm able to give more, not only to myself, but to other people.
It's like a self-reflection journey as we are talking about these things.
Having fulfilling relationships. And that doesn't just mean having relationships where you don't fight with each other or argue, because I think those things are natural and they should be normalized. I want to get rid of that stigma and being able to help people stand up for themselves. And again, depending on your parents, they may not understand terms as mental health or boundaries. And I think that goes beyond just our community, but especially in our community, that's a huge thing. It's okay to talk about your mental health. It's okay to get help, feel the feelings, cry if you need to, let it out. Put yourself first. Don't ignore mental health and reach out for help because you're not alone.
Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, hello and welcome to the Truth Tribe Show. I'm your host Ravi Toor, and today we are discussing mental health, how to live a better life, and how to overcome your internal monsters. We will be discussing all that and everything in between with our very special guest, Sunny Chopra. Sunny, welcome to the show.
Ravi, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really looking forward to just talking about, what you just discussed, mental health, especially within our community. I think it's a really important topic to bring awareness to.
100%. I agree with you. It is a very important topic, and I'm looking forward to our conversation as well. So thank you for that. So for those who don't know, Sunny Chopra is a life coach and a motivational speaker known for his energy, authenticity, and inspiring story. Raised in a single-parent home, he faced challenges like bullying and doubt from others. These experiences didn't hold him back. Instead, they made him stronger and more determined. Sunny today helps people find confidence to live their lives their way, focusing on emotional awareness and healthy relationships. His expertise covers mental health, resilience, and overcoming learning disabilities. Sunny's goal is to encourage people to express themselves, live confidently, and have meaningful relationships. He's not just a coach or a speaker, he's a guide helping others to find their path to personal victory. Super excited to chat about all that with you today, Sunny. To start us off, though, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
First, the introduction. Sometimes you just get caught in the day-to-day of what you're doing, and for you to say it out like that made me really, it made me a little emotional. It gave me some chills. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, who am I? I think if I was to take away everything, the work, my coaching, my motivational speaking, at the end of the day, I just want to be a good human being on this earth. I want to be a good human being to my family, to my friends. I want to, at the same time, care for myself too, because I always used to hear the quote that you have to fill your own cup or be looking after yourself first. And I always thought like that's selfish. And then I've really started practicing that the last few years. And I've noticed that the happier I am, the better my mental health is, the better my physical health is. I'm able to give more, not only to myself, but to other people. That's what I strive to do, is to make myself happy, because in turn, I'm able to do the other thing I love to do, which is help other people in my life, which is whether it be family, friends, my wife, my parents, cousins, siblings, anyone. So I just want to, when my time is done on this earth, I want people to remember me and not remember my title, not remember my job, but remember how I made them feel.
That's excellent. I think we all could do a little bit more of that. And I totally agree with you. You can't make others happy until you make your own self happy. Your own cup has to be filled before it starts overflowing to other people's cups. So Sunny, we can start off at a whole lot of different avenues, but let's start with success, because in today's modern world, everybody's striving for success. Everybody has their own definition of being successful. What is your definition of successful? How do you define success, and who do you consider successful around in your circle?
I would say it's not the traditional thing, to tell you the truth. Like for me, do I want to make let's start with the financial aspect of it. Do I want to make a lot of money? Yes, but I don't wake up every day writing in my journal, I want to make X amount of money. That's just not going to make me feel better. Of course, I want to continue to make money, live well, being able to afford the things I want to do, live a comfortable life. Like those things are great. But to me, I think success comes down to living an authentic life, doing what you want to do, not worrying about what others will think of you. and doing something that makes you feel fulfilled, makes you feel passionate, makes you feel good. And as a result of that, I do think you will make money. It's just a byproduct. The money is the byproduct. I chase that fulfillment. I chase that happiness. I chase that contribution. And even when I first started motivational speaking and coaching, I was doing it because it was a passion, and it still is a passion. And now it's evolved into a business, but that's what it first started as. It's just like a side passion project, and it's evolved, and I've never given up on it, and I'm not gonna, because at the end of the day, if all of a sudden one day someone just says to me, no one's ever gonna pay you for another coaching call or a speech, I'll be like, okay, that kind of sucks, but I'm still gonna do it. And for people listening, doesn't mean I'm gonna charge free now, but it just goes to show that I think that is success. And then on the relationship side of things, I think having fulfilling relationships, and that doesn't just mean having relationships where you don't fight with each other or argue, because I think those things are natural and they should be normalized, especially within our community. But having fulfilling relationships, respecting each other, having boundaries with people, I think that is true success. And I've seen a few family members really practice that. I've seen it in some of my mentors, whether they be in person or around the globe. They're so successful at doing what fulfills them that they're making so much money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. Everybody has their own definition of what success means to them, and I definitely like the one that you have given us. Who are your role models and inspirations, Sunny?
Yeah, just adding on to that, Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Napoleon Hill. That was one of the first books I read, was Think and Grow Rich, and since then I've read like almost 200 books, as you can see on my shelf there. These are some of my role models, and obviously I have close people that I meet in person who are just mentors I met through coaching, through speaking. I have mentors that I meet all the time. I have mentors who are no longer alive. I have mentors who I've never met, like Tony Robbins, but I still consider them mentors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love reading as well, and I know you have a passion for reading as well. Since while we're on that topic, you mentioned you have a library behind you. What would be one book that you will recommend everyone to read in their life?
I would say Think and Grow Rich. That book's 100 years old, but just a lot of the fundamentals and the philosophies in that book really will open your mind up. This is amazing. I've read it probably about 20 times. Because it's just, I always keep going back to it. There's a lot of books I've reread. It's just because sometimes you come back to it with a different understanding. If you watch a movie as a little kid and you watch it again as an adult, you're like, what's so good about this movie? So you get that maturity. But yeah, I think if you're going to only make me pick one book, I could pick a lot, but I would say Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich. I don't have that book, but I'll be sure to add that into my library. So thanks for sharing that. Just moving on from here, Sunny. So you mentioned that the term we use here is you're a life coach. You're a motivational speaker. A lot of times from the outside looking in, people don't understand what that really means for them. What is a life coach? What do you really do?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the life coaching side, my objective is to help people to get unstuck. If there's a current situation in their life that is causing them stress, causing them pain, causing them anxiety, damaging their relationships, damaging their health, making them cope with unhealthy coping mechanisms such as overworking, resorting to alcohol, drugs, gambling, like the list goes on. If you find yourself in that situation, that's where I can come in and help you out. And one of the things I'm really focusing on now is helping people with tough conversations, because a lot of sometimes these issues that we have are because we have relationships around us. It could be our parents or siblings, our partner, our aunts, our uncles, where they're causing us difficulty, and we're not able to stand up for ourselves because we've been taught that, hey, don't speak back to your parents, don't say that, don't say this. So I want to get rid of that stigma and being able to help people stand up for themselves. And that's what I'm doing now, is helping a lot of clients having these tough conversations, even if they have no confidence. There's like a roadblock. That's where I would come in and help with the current day situation. How can we improve your living situation? How can we improve your situation with your partner? How can we improve your situation with your parents, where you're respected and not seen as a kid?
Very interesting. So let's unpack all of that. So you mentioned a few things. So you mentioned mental health. You mentioned having tough conversations. I was actually on your social profile, and I saw that's a lot of conversations you're having these days. I actually had a list of questions that people were asking you, and I was like, oh, it's interesting to see that people are having a hard time having these conversations, right? So let's focus on that piece, having tough conversations. What does that mean? Which conversations are tough? What do you see out there with people?
A lot of what I see is, especially for when it comes to maybe we'll start with marriage. The partner might come into the household, and obviously when two people are being married, they're growing up in very different households, and just the philosophy and the way to communicate, it's going to be certainly different. So if, let's say, a wife is coming into the house of the husband, there might be things that the mom or dad say to the wife that might be offensive, but then the son is not going to see it that way because he's used to that kind of language. He's just used to that kind of environment. One example might be if the son is living at home and then the parents just go into their room without knocking. Now the wife comes in, that's going to be a little bit uncomfortable and awkward. So making people realize that, hey, this is an issue. And a lot of times people might be like, hey, it's not a big deal. It'll figure itself out. Or sometimes people are caught in the middle, whether it be the husband or the wife, and they don't know what to do because obviously that's their wife, that's their parents. What are they supposed to do? So a lot of people don't know how to navigate that and having these conversations because, again, it's something that's not common in our community. We don't really have these kind of conversations about standing up for ourselves, setting boundaries, saying, hey, when you enter my room, can you please knock? This is not really common. And a lot of people think the only way to do it is to either avoid it or start a fight. And that's where I've come in and I built like a framework of this can be done without starting a fight. This can be done without damaging the relationship. And you can really open up and talk about how it's making you feel. So that's one aspect of it. And another just is, even if you're not married, maybe your parents are really heavily involved in your career aspirations, or you're looking for a partner and you might be anywhere from 20 to 27 and they're still heavily influenced in that. And again, I'm not saying we shouldn't have our parents' influence, but there is a point in time where we need to be able to decide for ourselves and do what makes us happy. Because I've had a lot of clients who come to me and said, Sunny, I chose to go to IT because my parents wanted me to, but I hate this job. I'm so miserable. Like my life just sucks. It was better when I wasn't in school because I was able to do what I wanted. And they did it all to make their parents happy, but not realizing that it made them unhappy. They don't really know what to do in those situations. What can I do? How can I tell my parents I don't want this career? They're gonna eat me alive. They're gonna attack me verbally. What do I do? So I help people navigate through things like that because there's really no precedent about this. There's no guidance out there. It's sometimes too taboo to talk about. And that's where I want to break that barrier of, hey, we can have these conversations. You can tell your mom or dad that you don't like this career without disrespecting them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question to you on that is, there's a couple of questions actually I have. So one would be, how do you know what's good and what's not good? How do you come to that conclusion, be like, oh, this behavior is not okay? Is it just based on your personal opinion of it? But then again, I guess the follow-up is, could your personal opinion be not in line with what it should be? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the situation of the person. A lot of what I'm talking about here are common examples, but everyone's situation is going to be a little bit unique. 80% will be great. 80% will be the same, but that 20% is going to be different. But I think that the main things you can look out for is what your mom or dad's saying to you. Is it causing you to feel some kind of way about yourself? Is it ruining your self-esteem? Is it ruining your confidence? Are you feeling resentful towards them? Are you avoiding them? Maybe you're coming home late. Maybe you're staying in your room. Maybe you're not engaging in too much conversation with them. These are signs that what they're saying or doing to you is upsetting you. And it's something that needs to be addressed. And I get it. Like, so many people have come to me and said, Sunny, you don't know my mom. You don't know my dad. They're going to kick me out of the house. They're going to do that. And that's where you need to really weigh the options of, okay, how do I approach this situation? Am I financially still responsible with my parents? There's obviously so many factors, but if it's making you feel some kind of way, that is the first step in realizing, okay, I need to really have a talk with my parents because I just feel so uncomfortable being around them. Anytime I'm around them, I feel like I'm on eggshells. They're going to bring up something I don't want to talk about, and it just causes me so much stress. So these are signs to look out for. And again, not saying that our parents don't show us love or don't love us, or we might think, hey, if I say to my mom or dad that, hey, what you're saying doesn't make me feel good, that I'm disrespecting them, you're not really disrespecting them. You're standing up for yourself. You're telling them how you feel. And I think most cases, if you truly authentically tell your parents how it's making you feel, in most cases, they're not going to want to hurt their own child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. And I think it's because we come from Eastern societies and we have all these Eastern cultures
Yeah.
that we follow, and then we come to the Western world,
Yeah.
and the norms are completely different, and how you operate, it's
Right.
completely different. And so I guess it's just like finding that balance between your culture and the new life that you have opted for, and striking a balance in there. So what can somebody do? What would be, so say for example, and this is a hypothetical situation, let's say I'm the person, I come up to you, I have this situation where I'm not able to talk to my parents for XYZ situation. What are you going to tell me, or what are the things that somebody who might be listening can do to make those improvements in their day to day?
I think really digging into how it's making you feel, using words using words like I'm stressed out, I'm hurt, I can't sleep at night. And again, depending on your parents' level of language, they may not understand terms as mental health or boundaries. They're not going to know what that means, or they're not going to understand anxieties. You want to really, I would say, on a piece of paper, think of some interactions you have with your parents and which ones make you feel uncomfortable, because we all have them. When we're older, we're going to have these interactions that we don't like to have, and it's just going to make us feel uncomfortable. How is it making you feel? For example, is it making you feel stressed out, anxious? You could tell your parents, hey, when you talk about me having a career, I know I'm still looking for what to do in my life, but when you say that, I can't sleep at night, I keep thinking, and then I can't sleep, I'm tired, and when I drive, I can't focus. You can say things like that are really simple that will maybe help your parents understand that, oh wow, maybe I should stop a little bit. The other thing we need to realize too, as we're having these conversations, sometimes it's not a one-time thing. You can't just say it once and they're going to change, if they're going to change at all. You have to keep pushing it, because a lot of times is what happens is, I always like to tell clients, if you just communicate something like this once, it's out of the ordinary. They're not going to understand, oh wow, where's Sunny coming from with all this stuff about saying he can't sleep at night, that he's stressed out, or he's anxious. Where is this all coming from? They might just think, oh, it's just a one-time thing. Sunny's just being a little weird. But then if you keep doing it over and over and you keep communicating it, now it becomes a part of your identity. Now your parents will know, okay. And again, they might not consciously think this in their mind, but they might say, hey, son, now I know that when I talk to Sunny about what he's going to do with his career, there's a chance it's going to make him mad and he's going to have trouble sleeping at night. So now it's been ingrained in you as a person that you've built this boundary, you've stood up for yourself. So it does take some time, definitely.
My follow-up to that is there a set time that one needs? What does good look like? Because I know when someone's going through therapy, there is not like one size fits all. Some people might need 5 sessions, some 25 sessions. And a lot of time we expect that instant gratification that, oh, I talked to Sunny, Sunny's going to give me this pill, I'm going to have it and life's going to be okay. So
Yeah.
in your experience, what does that timeline look like for somebody?
Yeah, I think before I dig into that, when I do work with clients, in the first session, we go through the entire framework of what we need to do. And again, I don't recommend giving people scripts because it's going to sound unauthentic and it just makes the situation worse. But I do lay out the framework of what it looks like, of how they can have this conversation based on their communication styles. Can I really say, is there a fixed number of 1 session, 5 sessions, 10 sessions? In the first session, obviously, I give them the framework. They can go ahead and run with it. But obviously, if they need more help, then that's where I would recommend more sessions. But I guess to answer your question, it really depends on the relationship you currently have with your parents. If it's something where they are willing to listen to you, listen to your opinion, and you have that kind of relationship that you collaborate together, like you say, okay, I don't like how this is being done, or I'm going to pursue this in school, and they say, hey, that's a good idea, go ahead and do it. You're going to have the easier chance to probably get this done relatively fast. But if you have the relationship where they don't want to hear your opinion at all, they just say, no, too bad, my word is final, and just shut up and listen. And you get still treated as a little kid. I hate to say it, but if you still get treated like a little kid, it's going to be a little bit harder to change this, because they've been so used to treating you that way that there's going to be a lot of difficulty. And that's why a lot of people, I think, just say, this is too much work, I can't do it, I don't know where to start, I'm just going to avoid this, or I'm not going to even attempt to make it better. But then it ruins their relationship with their parents. So I would say it comes down to, what is the current level of the relationship? Do you feel that your parents respect you, they respect your opinion? That really plays a lot into it.
Very interesting. Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't think one size fits all. So one thing that we did touch on in having these conversations, the effect of it, or the effect of not having these conversations, is a dent in your mental health. We hear this term flying around quite a bit these days: mental health, mental well-being, mental disorders. From your perspective, what is your definition of mental health? What does it really mean?
Mental health is, I would say, if I was to define it and not think of like a dictionary definition, I guess in terms of my life, I would say looking after your well-being, looking after your capacity, and just doing things that, it really comes down to self-care. I think going back to what I said at the beginning of looking after yourself, being aware of what's going on, or like you might go to Starbucks and someone is rude to you and you don't really think about it, but then later you might be like, hey, that wasn't really nice what that person said. I should have said something. So I think like always checking in with yourself and making sure mentally you're good, your capacity is good, you're managing your stress levels, your anxiety levels, you're resting, you're not burning yourself out. Because I do think that if you're burning yourself out, if you're always anxious, you're always stressed, you're always upset, you're always hurt, there's a good chance you're not going to be able to handle something that comes forth, like adversity or someone saying, hey, I need to have a conversation with you, like a tough conversation. If you're in that state of mind, you're not going to be able to handle it as well. Your resilience is going to be very low. Just think about, you have to have a tough conversation with your parents, and then the next day you wake up, you're sick, and you have to have the conversation. You're not going to be in a good position to have the conversation because you're so sick. So I think we got to be proactive when it comes to our mental health and putting us in a situation where we're mentally there, we're able to handle things. And again, there's going to be things that come our way that we didn't expect at all. But I think we should equip ourselves every way we can to handle these by reducing these anxiety, stress, burnout. These things, if we manage them, we're better able to live a happier and more fulfilling life.
Interesting. So I guess what I want to ask is, how does one manage their stress level or their anxiety level? So I guess what does good look like on a day-to-day is, if you do at least these 5 things in your day, then that would ensure that you are living a healthy life or a mentally good life. So is there anything that one can do in the day-to-day?
Start with checking in with yourself. And when you're doing certain tasks, whether that be maybe your job or maybe you're doing outside projects or interacting with people or hanging out with friends or family, just really pay attention to how these things are making you feel. Do you feel that when you hang out with someone that after you're inspired, you're excited, or do you feel drained and upset, angry? Or maybe the job you're doing is draining you too. Again, I'm not saying quit your job the way like people do in the movies, but really monitor that and say, okay, maybe the job I'm doing is really draining me because after work, even though I slept well last night, I just feel like crap. I don't feel like doing anything. Or, oh my God, like I hung out with this friend or family member and I just feel so negative now. I feel so down. I think monitor these things are important. And that's where standing up for yourself and boundaries come into play too. It's a very big thing in our community. If you say no to someone, or, hey, can you come to my birthday? Can you come to my party? No, I can't. It's very hard to actually do that. And sometimes I think we're going anyways because I don't want to let that person down. But then in turn, it's burning you out even more. Really evaluate what you're doing. I'll give you an example now. I have to make a phone call with someone on a potential project. And for us, this call was at 11. It started at 11 my time. At 10:30, I had some time. I'm like, oh my God, I want to make this call. Yeah, but then I'm like, why am I doing this? I have 3 hours free later in the day. It doesn't need to be done this second. So let me shift it over. And that's what I did. And now I'm like fully focused with this. So I think for me, I've gone through that burnout. I've gone to the point where I was working 2 jobs, 60 hours a week, and it was just draining me. And I was very unhappy, and I was really difficult to be around, especially to my wife. Like I was just not happy. And at that point I was like, yeah, I'm making this money, but I'm not happy. So I gotta fix something.
Yeah, 100%. So a couple of things you said in there, and I'll share my example. One thing that has really helped me quite a bit is I get really anxious really quick. So one thing that has helped me, and this is just like a technique over the last year and a half, is just breathing. So even before our conversation today, I get into that zone where it's just my heartbeat goes fast. I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk to somebody and talk about this. So I just sit, give myself 10 minutes. And that's really what I need. Take some deep breaths, and it really helps me. Are there any techniques that work for you? What do you do in a day to make sure that you are healthy and on your A game?
So for the last 2 months, I've been meditating every morning. So that's been really helping me. And that sets me up for the day. But obviously throughout the day, there's going to be things that you just might be stressed out or overwhelmed, and you might just have too many meetings all at once. And sometimes that happens. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, what should I do at this moment? So sometimes I just take 10, 15-minute naps, or I just close my eyes and don't actually sleep, but sometimes I do fall asleep, and that really resets me. Before I used to drink more coffee, but I'm trying to stay away from that and don't want to increase my caffeine intake. The other thing I do is I call it like a timeout, like in an NBA or NHL game. I take a timeout for the day. Okay, I'm going to take a timeout. I'm going to leave my phone in the other room. I'm going to go away from my laptop, just sit or lie on my bed, and just let my thoughts run, like watching a TV show. Just let the thoughts run, breathe, and then just calm down. And then just say, okay, Sunny, what's left in this day? What's important? What can I control? And then I just do, like you said, breathing. I do some breathing exercises, and 5-10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm back. Let me step back into the day. Because sometimes it's like when you're in the jar of something, you can't really tell what's going on. But then when you get out of the jar, you can be like, oh, wow, okay, I was getting really stressed out there. I was going down a bad rabbit hole of negativity. Now let me reset myself.
It has helped me immensely over the last couple of years, is just doing that simple 5-minute breathing. And I can do it any time of the day. I can do it at my comfort. So that's why I asked you that question as to what works for you.
Yeah, and even if you're not, for me, I work from home, so I know everyone doesn't work from home or their job might not allow that, but maybe just wherever you work, go outside, or if you have, even in the bathroom is fine. Just be with your thoughts. Don't look at your phone. Just get away from the environment for a few minutes really helps.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Let's move on to something that I wanted to talk to you about. Now, you work with quite a bit of South Asian community members, male, female, older age, younger people, working class. What do you see, if you have to pinpoint, these are the top 3 things, let's say, in our South Asian community that needs to be changed? Whether that's how we perceive things, whether that's our outlook on things, what would you list in that list?
That's a really good question. So 3 things. I would say the first one is just the invisibility of mental health. I think it's a really unfortunate thing. If you have a broken arm, you're going to get a lot of attention. People will ask you how your arm is, but if you say to someone like, I'm going to stay home today because my mental health is not good, or I'm really burnt out, not so many people are going to understand that. And I think that goes beyond just our community, but especially in our community, that's a huge thing. So not that focus on mental health. I wish there was a better focus. And then I guess like a subcategory is men's mental health. A lot of men still think that opening up is weak. It's something that you shouldn't do. So I wish it was more destigmatized, that it's okay to talk about your mental health. It's okay to get help. Second one would be just having boundaries, telling people how you want to be treated. And instead of ignoring, again, if someone disrespects you, it's very common for us just to not say anything or ignore it. And then sometimes we just hold on to what that person said. We may see someone maybe once every 6 months and we'll remember what they said, but we're never going to bring it up. But we're going to be mad at them secretly, and we might go tell other family members about them. So I wish that changed as well, because having these authentic conversations with each other and really opening up and standing up for yourself, they're really difficult, I know, but it's going to allow you to have a better relationship with that person. And then I think the third one would be just expectations around marriage, daughter-in-law expectations, son-in-law expectations. I know those things are very huge in our community, and these expectations don't really fit a lot of people because their mental health is deteriorating. There's divorce. Sometimes there's suicide. I think that those expectations need to be changed. And I think it really comes down to potentially having conversations before marriage, or having conversations. Maybe you need to talk to your parents about, okay, this is who my wife is. This is her expectation. This is what she's willing to do, not willing to do. I think that those are the 3 that really need to change.
Yeah, I agree with you on all 3 points. So like a follow-up on that. So you mentioned your second point was men's mental health. I guess my counter to that is, aren't men supposed to be these macho protectors of the world? What problems do they have on mental health?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. And I think that's very true. Like, it's good to have that image outside, but it's at the price of your internal peace or lack thereof. Like, you're busting your butt, you're working really hard, you're providing for yourself, you're providing for your family, you're just this big, strong person. But inside, whether people know it or not. Because again, it comes down to that awareness. If you don't know, like you might be working 60, 70 hours to provide for your family, but then you come home and you drink yourself to sleep, there's some suffering that's going on there. But a lot of people don't see it that way. They just see it like, oh, I had a long day at work. But really, it's just the mental health is suffering. So I think, yes, that image is still out there. Okay, look, I'm big and strong. I'm taking care of myself. But behind doors, there's a lot of things that's going on with that man or these men in general that we're not seeing. It could be they're just not showing up in their marriage. They're not enjoying their life, or their mental health is suffering. Like they're turning to ways of coping, whether it be alcohol, drugs. So there's a lot of things that are going on inside that they're not talking about. And I think now in today's day and age, it's getting a little bit better because there is more awareness of these things. So yes, the outside looks good, but the inside is almost like it's a war inside.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I would say, even to the extent, like, especially more so in the South Asian community, men are seen as the providers. They are seen as the head of the families, and they have to do everything for everyone, right? And to your point, even if that comes at a cost to their own sanity, they are not to show those feelings to others, because then they're weak.
Yeah, and I think if you do go and do that, let's use that head of the table example. If you do go and say, hey, I'm not doing well mentally, I need to take a step back, I need to like go to therapy, doing those things. I know that's very ideal situation and that may not happen, but just to give you some perspective, I think not only will mostly people be like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know he was going through that. It's so sad to see. I wish I could have helped him. I wish he would have told me. Like if you have loving people around you, they will respond that way. And also you're validating yourself as a man that, hey, I am going through some crap now, but I need this help. And it's almost going to make you feel like, holy, I am living a true, authentic version of myself. And I remember I listened to one of Jay Shetty's podcasts, and he was a coach for a leader, and the leader was very respected and the characteristics that you described, very similar. And he told Jay Shetty, okay, I'm really struggling with my mental health. What do I do? And Jay's, okay, do your employees know? He said, no, I can't tell them that. And he's just give it a try. Just watch what will happen. He told them, and they respected him even more because he was willing to be a leader. Not only that led by example, but he was willing to be an authentic version of himself. So there's a lot of benefit that can be gained through that. And of course, there's still going to be people who just say, shut up, tough it up. I won't say the words, but don't be a wimp. Don't be, et cetera, et cetera. But if you have loving and caring people around you, they are going to be like, oh my God, why didn't you tell me you were going through that? Let me help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to tap into that too. And this is because of a recent instance, somebody I know, and we were supposed to have this session come this Friday, and we have it all set. This person's grandson just committed suicide a day ago. And I was just like so shocked when I did find out that news. And you would see this is a very good family, very capable people, highly respectable. So they have, from outside looking in, they have like XYZ all aligned, everything looks, but yet within that family, there comes an instance where one of their grandson committed a suicide and left notes for the family. So I'm now thinking about in our conversation is like how that family must be feeling looking back at it is like, where did we drop the ball? Why did we not check with him? And I guess that's why it becomes even more important is to check in on the people that you love the most, and for the people to come in because there's so much help, if only you are open to be vulnerable in front of others.
And it's the environment too. Again, I don't know the full situation, but based on what you've told me, it could also be the environment. Maybe that the grandson didn't feel comfortable going to the family, and there was really no guiding force for him. And that's why the other thing I want to just add on to that, sometimes our family and friends are not the best people to go to, not because they're not good people, but because they may not have the skill set, know how to. Something. The example is, let's say you want to build a business and you go to your mom, and your mom has no experience with the business. You're not going to go to her. Yeah, she's your mom. You're close with her. You love her, but she has no business experience. Why would you go to her? And I'm sure people still do that. But you want to go to someone who knows. And there might be, this is why I always tell people, if you don't want to go to therapy, at least talk to someone in your friend circle, in your family. And ways to look out for that is, has any of those family or friends ever been vulnerable with you? Have they shared their struggles, their journey? Because there's a very good chance that if they done it once and you go to them and say, hey, I remember you talked about this story, can you help me out? they're not going to shut you down. They're most likely going to say, okay, I'll help you out. And that's what I did too. When I first started, I had one cousin, shared his journey, shared his struggles. And then I went to him and he was more than willing to help me out. And then that's where I was like, okay, I feel like I can talk about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very important to have that dialogue amongst our families, amongst our communities. My question to you is, so you said it's look for support in your circle. What if there is no support? What if there is nobody there that you can relate to or is ready to listen to? Who do you go to then?
Yeah, if you're working for an employer, I work in human resources, so obviously I always tell the employees to use the employee assistance programs at your work. They're anonymous. They're 24/7, so talk to your HR department. I think that's a really good thing. Talk to your manager maybe too. Sometimes I think it's easier because when it comes to talking about like emotions, tough conversations, it's harder with the people we're closer with. But again, those are the important conversations we need to have. Talk to someone at work, or talk to your manager. Just say, I'm struggling with my mental health. Who can I go to? It's a little bit easier. And I would just say, look online. There's so many mental health resources, especially in Canada. If you just type in mental health on Google, there's so many free resources. So if you don't physically have someone in your circle that you can go to, there's so many resources online. There's Instagram pages that you can follow. You can follow me as well. I can always direct people. Sometimes I have people reach out to me and maybe they're not ready to be a coaching client. They're not there yet, but I'll say, hey, like I recommend you reach out to this resource, reach out to this person. They can help you out. So I think that we have to just be willing to look, because there is a lot of help out there and you're not alone in what you're going through. It might be unique to you and what's going on, but really there's a lot of people. The example I like to use, and I know it's a little bit funny, but it really relates to this, is I love wrestling, okay? I love watching wrestling, and when I'm out in public, no one ever talks about it. It's just, I don't know, I guess it's like a little stigma around it. But then when I go to wrestling events, I'm like, what? There's 15,000 people here with wrestling shirts, belts. How come I never see these people in the city? Like, what's going on? Where are they? I want to be friends with them. So same thing with like mental health. Like, you might think you're the only one that is struggling, but when you actually go to these places and look for it, there's so many other people that are struggling. So hopefully that example illustrates what I mean.
Yeah, it definitely does, because I've went to see WWE games, and when I first went there, I'm like,
yeah, there's so many fans.
To your point, I'm like, where were all these people? And just surprised because there's so many people watching it, right? Like, I'm a WWE fan, so
yeah. Oh, nice.
So just a question before we move on, just to tap into that a little bit more. I don't have the exact stats and resources, but over the last few months, as I've been having these conversations around mental health, I do know the number is staggering. So it's about 4,000 suicides in Canada, I think, religiously over the last 3-4 years. 4,000 people commit suicide in Canada every year. So those are somebody's friend, somebody's husband, somebody's son. Then the things that we talked about, alcohol. In our South Asian community, the alcohol abuse is huge. Then there's substance abuse.
Yeah.
Right? Like just in BC alone, I know the number now stands at about 7 deaths a day. And that is just due to overdose deaths, due to substance abuses. So these are real people within our community. And I guess my next follow-up question to you on that is, and this is just me talking out loud, is how does someone deal with death? Because I think that's one thing that's inevitable. Everybody has to go through that in their life, whether it's your parents, whether it's your friend or your loved ones. So how does one prepare themselves and how does one deal with death?
So I guess like the grieving process of someone dying in your circle. Yeah, I'm going to be transparent here and knock on wood. I haven't experienced one close to me in a long time, like a really close one. I have seen people who have experienced it, clients, friends, families. And what I recommend is feel it. I know it's painful. I think a lot of what happens is people will just, avoid like the feelings, distract themselves, and they don't really grieve what has happened, which is very unfortunate. We might think, I gotta be strong, I gotta be tough. And maybe during the first few days, or if you're during like the funeral time, like those are situations maybe, you need to be in charge, especially if someone close to you. But I think overall, feel the feelings, cry if you need to, let it out. And there's going to be cycles of it. There's going to be a point where I forgot what the 4 cycles are, but there actually is, like, there's denial, there's anger, there's acceptance. So I would say just look at that and go through those processes. And again, it's not easy, but this is something that I would use in my own thing. If unfortunately I had someone close to me die, I would use those things, because we really got to grieve it. If we just ignore it and say, yeah, it sucks, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to talk about it, it's going to linger on for a long time. And I think for the people who are comforting someone that's experiencing a death, not saying anything is actually way more powerful than saying it's okay, they're in a better place, or they were suffering. Don't say that. No one wants to hear that. And I think we hear that way too much. Oh, he's in a better place, or like he or she's in a better place. No, don't do that. Just hug them, be with them, talk to them, but don't say anything, or don't say I know what you're going through unless you're really there with them in a situation, because then that can also be very insensitive. When people close to me experience it, I will say, I don't know what you're going through. I'm sorry, but I'm here if you want to talk, because I'm not going to just say this formality line that everyone says, because I really don't know what they're going through. But I think it needs to be processed, and don't force yourself. Don't rush yourself. I've had people say to me like, oh, I experienced this death, I go back to work next week, or I need to get out of my mind. And I said, why? You can still have days where you're good and mentally, emotionally, you have it all together, but the next day you're sad about it. That's fine. Our life is ebbs and flows. We're gonna have good days and bad days. So welcome that. Let it happen. And if it's really hard for you to manage on your own, that's the time when you got to really stay close with those people that want to help you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for your input on it. Sunny, why do you do what you do? What was your sort of transition? What made you why did you take this on? Because you said you were doing 2 full-time jobs. Then why this side project? What do you get out of it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it started. It started as a side project. It really stems from my own life. I'll quickly go into it. I know I could talk about it forever, but I grew up in a single parent household. My parents divorced when I was 5, and then I struggled with bullying. I struggled in school, and I was always taught that don't cry, just hold it in. Don't let anyone show you that you're crying, because it's going to make other people sad. As a little kid, I would always hold these emotions in. And now switching to the academic side, I graduated school, but barely graduated. And then I ended up getting a job at Future Shop, which is now known as Best Buy. And I just wasn't happy. I was 21 years old, and I was just miserable, because I was like, I want to do more in my life. But then I just had this mindset that I'm not good enough. I was told I was stupid. So then I carried that same mindset with me at that age. Then I ended up getting fired from that job because I was a pretty crappy employee. And then for 1 year, I looked for a job and I couldn't find anything. And I think even one of the interviews, someone asked me, like, why did you leave your last job? I'm like, I got fired. And I'm like, oh, man. So don't ever say that in an interview. But yeah, so for 1 year, I couldn't find anything. And I would just, at that time, I could have gone into a lot of bad things. I could have gone into gangs, drugs, alcohol, and really abused that. But I didn't. I went to weights. I went to working out, because the other thing that really I struggled with as a kid was being physically fit, being in sports, because I was very skinny. So I wanted to gain muscle. I wanted to gain confidence. Started working out, and I haven't stopped working out since. But now it's become more like a mental and emotional thing, not just a physical thing. So I tried university. I was just like, I'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. I have nothing to lose. I have no job. I have nothing going on. If I fail in university, whatever. And I started to do really well. And then fast forward, 7 years later, I walked away with a human resources degree, business management diploma, and then even the last 2 years of university, I worked a full-time job. So that's why it took me 7 years. And then through that whole process, I really built my identity. I was like, wow, I feel like I've done so much in my life. I've accomplished so many great things. And I was not supposed to do all these things. The way I was growing up and being bullied, being told I wouldn't amount to much, being told I was stupid, and being able to take all that and get to where I was like, I'm sure there's so many other people out there who have been told that they're not going to do great things in life. They're not going to amount to much. And I always used to think that I'm not born talented. I'm not born gifted. So I can never achieve great things. And then I broke that mindset. I was like, no, you can work hard. You can outwork talent, and you can achieve great things. And then as I was getting older and after I graduated university, I was having a lot of arguments with a lot of family members and friends where it'd be random outbursts on people. because now I was gaining confidence in myself. And I was like, you know what? Screw everyone. They can't say stuff to me. Like, I'm going to stand up for myself now. And I was very aggressive with people. And especially when I was drinking, I would have a few drinks. And then if someone said something to me, if it was like a joke that I tolerated early on in my past, like early years, I would get very upset at them and get verbally aggressive with them. And then I wake up the next morning, oh my God, that's weird. Like, why did I do that? And at that time thinking that maybe I was just drunk and that's not really who I am. But it kept happening over and over for a year. It was like a cycle, but I didn't put the pieces together. Because again, I didn't have that awareness. So it started damaging my relationship. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, I'm finally, for the first time, standing up for myself. But then people are saying, like, who do you think you are? It's ruining my relationship. So at that time, my mindset was standing up for yourself means being aggressive towards people and saying back the F off and that kind of thing. That's what I thought I had to do. And then the funny thing is I had one of my HR jobs and I was really struggling with the workload, and someone recommended, hey, Sunny, why don't you talk to the employee assistance program? So I did it. And the funny thing is, we didn't even talk about the job. We talked about like my past, my childhood. And through the therapy sessions, I realized that me suppressing all those emotions as a kid, not crying, not talking about how I feel, not talking about my sadness, was now spilling out as an adult, especially when I was drinking. And I needed a way to manage that and handle that. So I went to therapy, did that. And then I started to really develop better emotional control, better emotional awareness, where I could channel it properly. And then that's where I was like, wow, like now I'm able to have these conversations with people and just be me, be authentic, and let people know how it's making me feel without starting a fight with them. And then I realized, like, hey, there's got to be so many other brown people out there who have experienced what I'm experiencing. I want to help out. So why don't I book a library, like a room, and do like a workshop with people, a free workshop? And I started doing that, and then I was like, wow, this is really fun. I'm like really getting like such a fulfilling feeling, like a feeling I've never felt before. I can't even describe it now because it was so like, I had so much passion. And this is the happiest like I've ever been. And then I continued doing workshops. And then I had a blog before too, where I would write posts about like my life experience and like what I've shared here. And then I became a coach from that. And then in the beginning, it was more general, where it was more about helping people develop confidence in themselves. And then in the last 3 years, it shifted more to just the South Asian community, because I'm seeing a lot of, I feel like there needs to be more life coaches, more therapists who are going to help people open up and talk about it. But yeah, that's what it is. It's all really my life experience and sharing it with people. And I'm still growing too. There's so many situations I come across, and I'm still going through. I struggle with alcohol as well, and I've been working through that. I've worked through that. So there's still a lot of things that I'm doing, but at the same time I'm coaching people, but then I'm also learning, and that way I'm not only being a better human being, but I'm also being a better coach that continues to evolve.
Gaining all the experience that you have in life now, what would you tell 20-year-old Sunny to do differently?
That's a good question. The 20-year-old self, I would really say, I'm trying to put myself back in that state of mind.
Yeah, take your time.
Give yourself a chance. Yeah, I would say give yourself a chance. You're downplaying yourself without even trying. You can achieve so much. You can be such a great person. Have you really questioned the fact that you're stupid? You've never really tried at anything, so how can you really truly say to yourself that you're stupid? Because if you think about it, in elementary and high school, you didn't really try. Maybe if you had tried and believed in yourself, you could have done well, but that's okay. You're here now, and I think you need to get other people's opinions of you and the past, hard as it is, out of your mind, and just focus on you, be in your own lane, and just see the amazing person you can become. And I think you'll achieve a lot of great things. I would say just give yourself a chance. Like, really question that statement of you're stupid, because you're not, Sunny. You can do great things if you just try.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely. There's a quote that comes to my mind, and it goes along the lines, we often overestimate others and underestimate ourselves. And I think that's like very true. All of us are guilty of doing that, because we look at this person and be like, oh, obviously the person is better than me, not realizing that, hey, there's a process to get there. There's a work that was put in, and anyone can do that as long as you follow those steps. During your journey of helping others, Has there been a point where you felt like there was a failure or a setback that you experienced, and what did that teach you, and what did you learn from it?
I wouldn't say it's one particular example like I can pinpoint, but it was more a mindset shift for me. So when I first started doing coaching and speaking, obviously I had so much passion for it, and it was something new, and I still have that same passion. But I think one of the things I found myself doing was shifting too much to the work and not focusing on myself, if that makes sense. I was helping people out with what I had learned and coaching them, guiding them, booking speeches. But then in my own life, I wasn't looking after myself. Again, that's self-care. So that was shifting away because I was like, I want to do a speech every weekend. I want to do 6 coaching calls this week. I want to do 7. I want to do 8. I want to do it all. Like, I want to keep doing it. And what it started to do was burn myself out. So when I had free time, I was just miserable. I wasn't happy. Then I told myself, like, Sunny, you're fine. You're just tired. Come on, this is your passion. Like, you're like, this is not regular work. This is your passion. Like, you'll never get burnt out from it. So it did take me a while to realize that, hey, like, too much of anything, whether good or bad, is not good. It is my passion, yes, but do I want to do it 24/7? Would I want to do a podcast 24 hours a day? No, because I'm not going to be happy then. I'm not going to be able to give the best quality to you or anyone else I'm speaking with. And I think, yeah, I was incorporating too much of my coaching with my personal life. And although I know that kind of sounds contradicting, but there has to be a separation as well. I would say in the last 2 years, I've been working on that a lot because it was like an internal struggle because I was like, why? Maybe I lied to myself and I don't like coaching. I don't like speaking because now I feel miserable in my personal life. But it was because that separation wasn't there. So there are times where on a Saturday or Sunday, I don't even want to go on Instagram, not because I don't want to talk to anyone, but I want to just focus on spending time with my family, my friends, my wife. I want to create memories that don't need to be shared. So I've been doing that a lot. And in turn, gives me more energy when I'm in that coaching mindset.
The flip side to that is, what would you categorize as your most proud moment through your career helping others?
A most proud moment would be, I've had a few clients say to me, you changed my life, you saved my marriage. And another one was someone said to me, I listened to your podcast and we put it on, me and my husband were listening to your podcast and we actually put it on our Bluetooth, we put it like basically on our TV speaker. And I'm like, oh my God, me and someone's living room? Like, that's what I was thinking in my mind. Because again, a lot of what I offer is experience. It is my personal experience. Obviously, I've learned a lot, mentors, courses, and so forth, but a lot of it is 80-90% my experience. So to me, it's just my life. I've lived it. But then when I hear other people be like, wow, Sunny, this is amazing. Like, sometimes I get taken back and like, it is? Okay.
Yeah, if you say so, sure.
Yeah. So I get taken back sometimes. So even this podcast is really, as much as we're having a conversation here, it's very reflective for me as well.
Yeah, and that's really the goal. It's like a self-reflection journey as we are talking about these things. We're like, oh, this happened, oh, that happened, and then bringing it all together makes you think about the work that you have done over the years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sunny, when you're not working or you're not helping others, what do you do to stay fresh, active, be on your A game?
So I work out 4 times a week. So I lift weights. So I continuously do that. When the weather's better, I go for nature walks in forest, sometimes alone, sometimes with my wife. And then the other things I do is hang out with friends and family, whether it be going for dinners, hanging out at the house. So I do things like that. And then I do a lot of the term, I don't know if the term inner child, that's a whole nother topic, which we could talk about for hours. But a lot of things when I went to therapy was my counselor at the time mentioned, like, because of your childhood experiences, that little kid in you has been traumatized and you need to show it some love. And when he first said that, I was like, what the hell does that even mean? This was when I first went to therapy. So again, I wasn't a coach then and I didn't understand any of this, but he said you need to really go back and validate the little kid in you. Are there things that as a kid that you did that you would like to do now, but you might find embarrassing? I was like, yeah. And he's like, do them within reason. So he's like, what did you like as a kid that you would like now, but you feel embarrassed about? And I said, I like watching Dragon Ball Z. And he's like, do that again. So now actually, that's something I watch. Do you like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh? So then I started doing these things and like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Again, it's something like every time I walked in the mall, I would say like, oh man, I really want to go in that Yu-Gi-Oh store, but I'm too old for this. Now I walk in and I buy cards and it feels so good. People are probably looking at me like, who's this guy, this tall guy walking in buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards? But I do it anyways, and it makes me feel so good. Like the little kid in me, like I'm validating myself, I'm being authentic. And if anyone asks me too, as you can see like in the background, I have Mario, I have a Yu-Gi-Oh pack. And before I would hide all that stuff. Oh, that's weird. But embracing that and doing these things. So I have a PS4, I have a Nintendo DS, so I play Mario, I play with my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and again, this might sound weird, but that's really what we gotta do when it comes to being authentic, is embracing those sides of ourselves. And again, I'm sure people do, but they don't really show it, but I just feel like when I'm showing it, it's giving other people this empowerment that they can do it too. But yeah, those are a lot of the fun things I like to do.
Yeah, completely. Own your own identity in a way. Be who you are and really own it.
Yeah.
Sunny, what message would you put on a billboard for the entire world to see?
Oh, wow. I would say be aware of yourself, check in with yourself, take care of yourself, and live a life to the fullest in an authentic way. And when I say fullest, I don't mean, because again, when I was younger, fullest meant say yes to everything. I think there's a movie about it too. I forgot what it's called, but the guy says yes to everything because he's going to live life to the fullest. And then I took that as inspiration, but I don't think that's a good idea. But when I say fullest, live the full authentic version of yourself. We might think, like, people might think we're weird, they're going to think what's wrong with this person, but everyone has their own things going on. And will people really care? I think we really overestimate that. We overestimate how much people really care about what we do in this life.
Sunny, what does the future look like for you over the next couple of years? Do you have any projects, anything in the works? What can one expect?
Yeah, for sure. I would say continuing to be out in the community. You know, I live here in Surrey, BC, and obviously with the pandemic the last few years, a lot of my focus shift to online workshops. And I developed a lot of good relationships that way, but I want to now take that to the next level and do in-person workshops, meet people at networking events and talk about my services. And I think continuing to grow my coaching business and speaking business and just continuing to serve people. And maybe I'll come across new things in my life as I go through different life stages. But the core thing of helping people through my experiences, that's never going to change. That's always going to be there.
That's awesome, Sunny. So it's been lovely chatting with you. Before I let you go, though, what is your final message to, let's say, the South Asian community and others out there who might need some help? What do you want to leave them with today?
I would say don't ignore mental health. It's a real thing. If your mental health is suffering, it's more difficult than physical health. I've had a lot of physical pain, but the mental pain I've experienced is far more greater. If you don't feel comfortable talking to a counselor, if you don't feel comfortable even reaching out to me and my page, it's just try to identify someone in your circle that you can go to who, if you open up, they're going to be willing to listen to you. They're going to validate what you're saying, because sometimes people might just say, oh, you're over exaggerating. You'll be fine. I went through that. You're going to be good. Find a comfortable person to open up to, because they do exist. And it may not be your friend circle, but it might be a counselor. It might be someone at work. And just keep checking in with yourself. If you're having good days, bad days, or if you find a difference in your habits. Maybe you're drinking more now, or you're eating more, eating less, or you're not as motivated at work, or you're not spending as much time with family and friends. Like, really think of why that's happening. And it could be a number of things, but one thing I've always noticed is it's because there's a conversation that you probably need to have. Maybe someone's disrespecting you and it's really taking a toll on you, and you have resentment towards that person, and as we talked about earlier, it's causing you anxiety and stress. So maybe that's a conversation you need to have. But I guess to sum it all up, be kind with yourself and be gentle. Don't be afraid to put yourself first. I know it might be seen as selfish, but it really isn't. It's self-care. The more you have, the more you can give to others. And don't be afraid to have tough conversations. We might think, oh, if I have this conversation, it's going to start a fight. The person's not going to talk to me. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird. And it might be all those things, but there's a way it can be done if you truly identify how that person's making you feel, how they're making you feel hurt. And when you go and have that conversation, your relationship is going to be so much better. And most importantly, your mental health is going to be better. You're just going to feel less stressed out, less anxious. But yeah, I would say put yourself first. Don't ignore mental health and reach out for help, because You're not alone. There's so many people out there. I'm here for you too. Again, as I mentioned, it doesn't have to come in the form of coaching. It doesn't have to come in the form of paying me. I just want to help out as much as I can. So feel free to always reach out to me.
That's wonderful, Sunny. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
sitting down with you, just picking up your brain and learning from you. And I hope anyone who is listening would be able to pick up some tidbits from it, apply to their lives, and make some actionable changes. Your information will be on there, so people who want to reach out to you will be able to do so as well. Keep
Thank
up the
you.
great work. And again, we'll chat soon.